Red Ray Gun Limited presents
The Benji and Nick Show.
Hello, I'm not Benji.
And I am not Nick.
No.
Who are we?
We must be Benji and Nick.
That's right, Benji and Nick here. The two people that strangely are the name of this podcast, I do believe.
Yeah.
Well, we're people as well, obviously, but the name of the podcast seems to be us as well.
I'm not a number.
Yes.
So this week, by popular demand, we're talking about the children's fantasy series Children of the Stones.
Oh, Children of the Stones.
Made by HTV and broadcast on ITV in the UK. Anyway, in the year... What year was it?
1970-45.
I think it was 1977, I want to say.
Let me have a look. Let's get the
And they
detail.
repeated it in 1979, I'm going to say. I'm not looking this up.
77.
77 and 79 repeat.
So it was produced in 76 here. It says produced by HTV in 76, broadcast on United Kingdom's ITV network in January and Feb 1977.
Yeah,
so
in that children's TV 4 to 5 o'clock slot.
The lovely slots, the fun
I used to come home from school to watch that. I would have been, mid to late teenager then. And they did repeat it in 79, I'm pretty certain. Because I did an audio recording of it then. Recorded it onto cassette, so that's why I know it so well. Also got the DVD a while ago. HTV had a real history of doing, track record, I would say, of doing fantastic children's TV. Every year they did a great fantasy sort of series. They did Sky, do you remember Sky?
I do, yes. And
they'd also done that series Arthur of the Britons, not fantasy.
I was about to bring that one up. Yes, definitely. The thing about HTV is that you can, it sticks in your mind because the idents little Harlech television, it sticks in your minds, and so
I like the fact that it goes. It's all kind of like all bubbly and electronic,
but nothing beats it. And I thought one day I'll try and replicate it, but you can never just do it. Things like that, they just. No. I often think that they happen on the spur of the moment, and they're perfect, and you can never.
They do.
Quite...
It's like the Spangles in the Doctor Who theme tune from the middle of Patrick Troughton on. No, that nobody knows, including Mark Ayres, and he knows everything. Nobody knows how they did it. They think that they just, adjusted a bit of feedback or an oscillator while they were mixing it, and it just made this additional weird noise. And I thought, that's nice. Nobody can really recreate it,
and it works. You can take it away. It's one of those things. They have a life of their own. But that's the magic of radiophonics. But the irony is, of course, that with Children of the Stones, this is not a radiophonic series at all. It's the absolute opposite. So I suppose we should start for people that don't know.
Hold on. Before all that, let's do the emails we didn't do last week.
Great idea. Great idea.
At the end of the podcast, or maybe during our Children of the Stones chat, we can do some more emails.
Smashy woo. Let's do it. So, but before even we do that, though, Nick, I think that we need to remind people that the Benji and Nick Show is sponsored by the Jerry Anderson store, which you can find at jerryanderson.co.uk. And let's see what there is to offer on there today. Let's have a look. Let's have a little.
I'd look earlier, actually, because I was selecting a competition prize.
Oh, let's have a look then. So we've got some funky... There's an International Rescue beanie hat, would you believe?
Oh,
great fun.
You can also get a sort of Space 1999 sort of badge, shoulder pad. It's not shoulder pad.
A shoulder
badge
pad?
Yes, just the one. It's for the sort of Richard III on Moonbase Alpha. That sews onto a shoulder on a uniform sort of thing. That's the idea. I mean, just all sorts of stuff.
There's so many funky
Lovely.
things. Like, just what I love about it is that it's got a little shop by show function on there, which is really nice. So you can go right in, and they've got everything that you could possibly want. So they go in, and
it's a great website.
It's really well done, and like you can go in. So let's see one, for example. Let's go for XL5 Fireball XL5. And there's just loads of great stuff. You can get the little patches on that one, the DVDs and mugs and all sorts. And what a shirt. In the sale, guys, get on it. Robert the Robot Fireball XL5 t-shirt, saying just massive letters saying full power.
It's not saying on our way home. Which was Jerry Anderson doing that voice, I believe. Got any particular Jerry Anderson thoughts today, Benji?
Do you know, I actually have, and believe it or not, this is before. I didn't think this was just nothing to do with the podcast. I just happened to be having one of those evenings where I thought, I just want to watch something. Like, you know, when you want to lose yourself in something. And I actually, I was looking through. I've got this huge cupboard of DVDs where they're all buried.
You surprised me.
Oh yeah, no, I don't even know what they are. And I found the Blu-ray of the complete Thunderbirds, and so I thought this is a great opportunity. I thought I'm just gonna kind of chill out and watch the Thunderbirds, and so I thought I'll start from the beginning because there's a lot of it, and so it's Trapped in the Sky, iconic. And I was actually, I just sat there and I sat through it and thought, this is so brilliant. It's so perfect. Like the actual whole story, the whole episode is perfect. The pacing is so lovely in it, and like it's one of those things that it's just that classic thing of the situation just keeps getting worse, and every time you want something to be resolved, you're like, it'll be all right now. Then it's like, oh no, not another thing, and it's
that is Thunderbirds. Peril,
absolute peril.
So it taught me so much about peril for stories when I started writing stories. Thunderbirds, yeah.
It's just so brilliant, and it's got that wonderful thing as well of like you really, because I mean I used to love the fact that you'd never know what Thunderbirds you would see that week, and that was such and I remember like with the way that I watched them with the repeats. Obviously sometimes you wouldn't always get to see them every time they were on, because I had no concept of time. Well, no concept
until
of time until last week, and which was I found out was next week. But so you sit there and you think, I've not seen any Thunderbird 3 for ages, and it's really bugging me. Then you realise that you just missed it, and that, but you had no concept of that.
But Mr. Thunder, you didn't see Thunderbird 3 so often, did you?
Thunderbird 3 was kind of like, we're going to save there for the big stuff, the big guns, space guns. But no, it's awesome, and it's kind of inspired me actually to kind of sit down and just watch them all through again, because on Blu-ray as well, and you get to see it in such high quality. It's like watching it again for the first time.
Amazing, isn't it? I just I get such a thrill from that old Jerry Anderson stuff, and it reminds me. It feels like the way exciting kids' TV should be, and that's why I'm really excited for. Jamie, our friend Jamie Anderson, is developing his father's idea for a series called Firestorm.
Oh, yeah.
Using a new kind of puppet, but they've got the same look as the Thunderbirds puppets. And there's a brilliant teaser for it. I know you've worked on editing some of the sound, and I've done a computer voice for it. But, if it gets commissioned for a series, hopefully I'll be working on that. Doing some writing and maybe other work. And I'm so excited at the prospect of doing that. I'll really feel that I've kind of, gone back to my roots, because it's all just as important to me as Doctor Who, really. Also, I've been watching Space 1999.
Have you been continuing the iTunes marathon?
Yeah, I mean, it's a rocky one for me, because I will controversially say here, the Space 1999 is a fantastic concept for a series, and it has a pretty thumping good first episode, but it sort of seems to suffer from a lack of consistent briefing to the writers, and it's like all the writers have come along and done their thing with Space 1999 and not been excessively reminded of the format.
Yeah.
And you think, well, how can that work? That's ridiculous, and people's reactions are often a bit off kilter with what would ring true to be a reaction. And I think the key thing about fantasy and science fiction is that you, no matter how preposterous the situation is, people's reactions should. You should watch it and think, that's how I'd probably react if that happened to me. And because in Space 1999 they're sort of meant to be sort of people of the future in a kind of 2001 A Space Odyssey sort of style, they do. It's very odd when Helena Russell's husband comes back from the dead. You know, she lost him when he got burned up in the Jupiter probe mission, and then she finds him again, light years away from Earth. Well, it's just ridiculous. I don't know.
But that's telly, you know. I suppose you don't.
And she doesn't see, her reaction is very odd. And I think it would be a great story. I think there's so much potential in it, and I would love to do, a Space 1999 reinvention.
Well, you never know. Who knows in this magical mystery world in which we live in, this universe. But I've not seen an awful lot of Space 1999, and it's one of those things that is always one of the many sort of series that I say to myself I'm going to sit down and watch, but then you just get busy. But I'm going to have to do that because it seems important.
It's such an impressive production.
Especially now it's on iTunes. I think I've got to make the jump. Although No, I have to start getting things digitally because otherwise my cupboard can't hold the stuff, Nick.
Yeah. The trouble is the thing on iTunes is not the high def version. You can only get that from the Jerry Anderson store on Blu-ray.
And just a reminder, actually, that if you order anything on the Jerry Anderson store, that you can use a special code. That's right. This is a special code word here. Destroy, destroy, destroy. That's all one word. Well, it's actually 3 words into one, so no spaces. Just destroy, 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 capitals, and you can get yourself some free shipping. So you can go out there. You can get that DVD. You can get that hoodie. You can get those mugs. You buy 4. You can have some friends round and watch the DVD that you've got with the free shipping that we've given you. So it's well worth a go.
Do it.
And as well as that,
and if you don't do it, Jerry Anderson's store won't sponsor us anymore, so please do.
Yeah, please do that, because we rather like the Jerry Anderson store. It's rather funky. But also, as well as that, we're also running a competition for you to win a Jerry Anderson hoodie. Yeah. And we'll be answering the results of that at the end of the podcast. And then we'll be running another competition. It's beyond incredible, isn't it? Loads of competitions. It's just for bozo. So there we go. Let's get rocking and rolling, Nick.
Well, anyway, before we get on to Children of the Stones, honestly, it is coming. Let's catch up with the emails we didn't have time for last week. Remember, you can email us at podcast@nicholasbriggs.com.
Oh, that's a good firm email. So let's crack in here with a certain one from a Mr. Tom Saunders. Tom Saunders, a chum of ours, works with us at Big Finish. He's a video man. He is also...
He doesn't exist. He just exists on video.
He just exists on video. He's the head of the Demon Headmaster fan club. Is
he really?
No. we love the Demon Headmaster. So we were talking about it. He loves Bernard's watch. I know that. He loves Bernard's watch.
I've no idea what that is.
It's a 90s television program about a kid who has a watch that when you click a button, it freezes time. And we always say it's really funny because he always does really mundane things. Like if you could freeze time and do whatever you wanted, you wouldn't do such things as, I'm freezing time so that I can help my friend with his homework. Or like, I'm freezing time so I can go and get that ball from next door's garden. Or
what you're saying is there's a paucity of ambition in the storytelling. Absolutely.
It's oh no, I forgot to put my pants on, so I'm going to stop time and go and put them on and come back. It's mental. But anyway, so this is the email from Tom Saunders. Hello, Nick and Benji. I write this on the Monday just after listening to episode 1, which I would call Soup to the Daleks. Apparently they like onion. They do, apparently. Terrible breath.
Yes, I was eating onion soup, wasn't I?
Yeah, like the classic soup choice. In another podcast, which you both feature, I often find myself laughing uncontrollably, much like that extra from Destiny of the Daleks. Yes.
When their lives are spared, he goes, should we do another take? Oh, that's the 5th time he's done it. Never mind.
He just finds it funny. Just leave him in. Same as he's a babbling madman. As I'm either walking to the shop or working at my computer, I often get strange look from passers-by or my wife, who struggles to understand, as I explain a reference to Death to the Daleks and why I find it funny. As she walks away rather frightfully mocking how sad I am, I amuse myself further by saying, "Sorry, Rach, I didn't quite catch that." Love it.
Oh, that's from
so
Death
nice.
to the Daleks. We'll leave that hanging, yeah.
So, as I brought up the Doctor Who extra from Destiny of the Daleks, I ask you, who is your number one Doctor Who extra? For me, it has to be, this is from Tom, it has to be that laughing guy from Destiny. I believe he was captured by the Daleks and set to work because of his laughing, and this should be given a whole backstory. Another problem I seem to have is throwing out random Doctor Who quotes without even realising. An example of this would be when I kept saying, "You fool, Libri." When anyone, or even myself, did anything I thought would be foolish. Funniest one is I always say, "You fool, Jacini." Even if they had ever seen the Ark in Space, which I know is almost blasphemy. It's true, you've got to check it out.
They'd never seen it.
They'd never seen it, yes. That.
That would be blasphemy.
That would be blasphemy, yeah. Please do see it.
Well, not literally, obviously.
Don't
mean to offend anyone.
Metaphoric. Am I alone in this issue, or should I seek help, or just watch Ark in Space once more? Yes, you should do that. Thanks, gents, and long may the podcast laughter continue to flow across the universe, as without it, everything would just collapse to entropy. Oh, entropy increases. Sent from Nerva Beacon Terminal 3. Oh, superb. P.S. You fool Libri.
Yes. Well, first of all, so we've got to find our favourite quotes, have we?
So not our favourite quotes, so just our favourite
extra.
Our favourite. Okay, yes, yeah. I've got a good extra, actually.
I've got a good one too. Go on, what's yours?
Mine's a weird one, but I always find it amusing. I love the extras in the Two Doctors.
Right.
When not just
you're not referring to Fraser Hines and Colin Baker, are you?
No. Just choking there.
They'll choke me if they ever hear that.
When Dastari, I think it's Dastari, I'm just double check. Yeah, when Dastari sort of walks out out of the restaurant, I seem to believe, or it might just be in a town square, he looks utterly ridiculous. You're in sweltering sun, he's wearing this sort of sparkly spacesuit with aviator glasses, and I just love the idea that there's just people chilling out on the tables there, not batting an eyelid, and sort of looking over like, no, some geezer there wearing a sparkly suit and aviator glasses, yeah, pass me the wine.
Yes, I find that kind of thing really irritating, actually.
I find it really funny. I thought that has to be, for me, it's an odd one, but I just love the idea of just people not, because it's such a wonderfully classic thing. Like it's like when you're in London, and if I went out in London dressed as a clown, with a massive sign saying, "Do not approach me, I will steal your wallet," people would just ignore it and just carry on. And I just like that.
Maybe
idea.
with that note, they might not.
I don't know. Well, maybe not.
Anyway, moving back to extras in Doctor Who. My favourite ones, I think it may be just one guy, I'm not sure, but there's two guys there. It's in Doctor Who and the Silurians. And there's a bit where we're in the control room, and Fulton Mackay, 236 today, oh, get that right. Mr. Mackay. He is having a conversation with someone in the foreground, and in the background there are two technicians. At least one of them's wearing a big pair of glasses with black frames, and they're looking uselessly at some graph or something, some figures on the wall, and they're pointing at it, slightly too. They clearly haven't worked out what they're meant to be doing, and they're pointing at it, and they've been pointing at it and mouthing nonsense to each other, because of course they're not actually far enough away to be talking without us hearing them, so they're pretending to talk. And there's a point where they clearly decide that surely they've done it long enough and the scene's over, and they stop, And they turn and they look at the camera and they're kind of, it's probably over now. And then they see that Fulton Mackay's still talking and they kind of do oh no, do some more. I don't mean do some more. I mean do some more.
Just some more pointing. Just blimey, yeah. Look at that, 271.
So they're my favourite. I pointed those out to Nick Pegg, who used to do The Watcher in Doctor Who magazine. But enough of that controversy. So that's my favourite. Have you got? I know he's not asking us for a quote. You fool, Libri. Have you got a bit of Doctor Who that you randomly quote to people and that they never understand?
Well, I mean, I constantly do. You fool, you old fool. That's
Which just sounds downright insulting, doesn't it?
What's the other one? What was it? Ace, money. You have to hold
Ace!
it. You have to hold it. Money.
I'm working with him next week. Money, I mean. No, that's Sylvester. Well, God, there is one that I do. And no one ever gets it. I quite often say to people, thank you, that's what I wanted to know.
That's what I wanted to know. Oh, so good.
I don't know why I'm mentioning the irredeemable Bill Baggs, but we used to have a joke about it because just he said, thank you, that's what I wanted to know. And then Nida in Genesis of the Daleks, the late, great Peter Mars, who we sadly lost only recently, then hits Garman, the person who's given him the vital information, with the butt of his little pistol. And when Garman's hit, he kind of goes, and then drops unconscious. And so we changed, Bill and I thought it would be hilarious if we changed the order to, thank you, that's what I wanted to know. Like all Nida wanted was for Garman to go.
That's all I needed to know. Oh, I love it.
Anyway, on to another email before the podcast runs out. We never talk about Children of the Stones. Merlin Macaulay mysteriously says 1 Briggsy test, 2 Benji test. But here's one from Jenny. Oh, well, that's it. That's all he says. Here's one from Jenny Shirt. Thank you, Merlin. Merlin casts a spell. We know Jenny Shirt very well. We do. Her email is a tiny bit longer. Hi, Nick and Benji. I would love you to record a podcast based on spooky 70s children's TV dramas. I am a huge fan of the Children of the Stones, she says. Also, The Changes, Sapphire and Steel, The Boy from Space. It'd be fun to hear your thoughts on them. Thanks, Jenny Shirt. Well, part of your dream is coming true, Jenny. Keep on making suggestions. The Changes might be a good one as well. I've got that on DVD.
Love The Changes.
Heavy on social conscience. Paddy Kingsland music.
Yeah.
There,
I'm not going to do the whole thing because I could. But it is interesting enough. This is the Benji and Nick show where we basically sell other people's products.
Right.
The Changes is out for Record Store Day this year. The Changes. They're releasing it for the first time on vinyl for the whole soundtrack. You can only get it in participating stores for Record Store Day, so it's well worth giving it a look because obviously you can get it's on vinyl. I don't know. I imagine it'll.
I love the way you say vinyl. You say it at every given opportunity. It's on vinyl.
It's on vinyl. It's a record. But it's well worth a go, definitely.
On vinyl.
I'm final. Next email here from Simon Jeffries. Thanks for that one, Jenny. Hello. Everyone always raves about Jerry Anderson puppet shows, etc. No one ever mentions his real-life actor's work. As a huge fan of Space 1999, I think it often gets overlooked. And UFO. Just an idea. Well, there we go.
Yeah, well, Simon's right. Well, we mentioned it earlier. I did.
We did indeed. Well, Nick did. Yeah. Well, we'll have to do
UFO. I prefer UFO actually.
UFO, yeah. Funky hair.
We did in our second series of The Prisoner for Big Finish. There's an episode set in space, and my brief to the composer was: imagine doing the Prisoner theme to the rhythm of UFO.
Great idea.
So Jamie did that. It was amazing.
So as well here we've got Gary Willard here says, hi Nick and Benji. Just wanted to say that I'm loving the podcast as I found it whilst listening to your podcast from Big Finish. Funny that. Now, I just need to insert my adenoids with a fact from your Death to the Daleks podcast in regards to the Kung Fu series you mentioned. Oh, that's a big good one. Did you know that Bruce Lee was originally going to be the star of the show, but due to attitudes at the time, he was recast with David Carradine as shown in the film Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. That's quite interesting.
Yes, I had heard that, yes.
There you go. Nick has heard that.
Newsflash.
Newsflash.
I didn't realise it was because of sort of, latent, well, not latent, underlying racism, really. That's a horrible shame.
It's a sign of the times, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that a major American TV series could not star someone of that ethnicity.
Makes you wonder, though, how many other TV series and how many other decisions are based on those grounds, and just how different the landscape of television would have been. It's very interesting. Well,
I remember, in the 1980s when they did the BBC series, The Chinese Detective. Did you? That isn't the theme tune. You aware of that?
I'm aware of The Chinese Detective, yes.
Do you remember who starred in it? I can't remember his name.
You know me, I can't remember my own name, let alone other people.
David Yip. Without even looking it up, I've remembered his name. But I tell you why, because we worked with him. We've worked with him a couple of times. He's a smashing actor.
Yeah, 1981 and 82. Pretty progressive for the early 80s as well.
It was a really big thing to have a Chinese leading character, for example, as an example of an ethnic lead casting, And a sign of the times again that they had to make a thing of it rather than it be just a normal thing. But anyway,
that's one we could cover one day, actually. There we go. Continue with the email here. Talking actually really quickly about attitudes, though. The changes that is being hailed as a huge. The BFI now kind of put it under their thing of influential series because they had a huge presence of Sikhs.
Yes,
it was one of the first times that Sikhs were kind of really the Sikh culture was really respectfully as well featured on television.
It was.
It's actually lovely. It's really nice kind of archivey thing in a way to see that, but that's lovely. But that was, I think, certainly is now being hailed as a very important.
And I remember it being very educational at the time when I watched it as a kid. I was prepared, I think, as many white kids in those days, to sort of, when the moment you saw someone of colour, you were just used to the sort of usual negative connotations, whether overt or under the surface, that were always presented with representing non-white people. And I remember, I do remember that feeling of, oh, this is different, when they were presented in a way that actually sort of kind of absolutely put forward great wisdom and all that kind of thing, and how these people were handling the situation far better than others.
Absolutely, and they were kind of they were making use of the closeness between them all as well, and that they take the lead character under their wing and kind of look, and it's lovely.
There's no prejudice from them at all.
And it's just, it's a lovely bit of telly, that. Lovely bit of telly. And
I'm inspired to go and watch it after we've done this, actually.
Oh.
I can see it on the shelf in my mind's eye. I'm reaching out to it psychically. It's rattling in its container. I've been watching Red Cap recently.
Red Cap? No, I've never seen that, actually.
Oh, this is John Thor's first starring role on television.
Rock and roll.
Where he plays a military policeman. Anyway, more of that for another time. Carry on with this email.
So we've got here, loving hearing your memories of recording the audio off the telly, as I used to do that myself with lots of stuff back in the day. Although I was born in 1974, on the same day that Carl Douglas's Kung Fu Fighting was number 1 in the charts. Great one. So I had to wait to get old enough for Death of the Daleks to come out on VHS, which was my very first introduction to the other incarnations of the Doctor. And John Pertwee was my favourite with his martial arts skills. He was pretty good, wasn't he? Hike! Can't wait to hear more from you both shooting the breeze about Doctor Who. Many thanks, Gary Willard. Cheers for that one, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Oh, and Susan McKenzie got back to us, the one who wanted you to read out the phone book. She said, I appreciated beyond measure hearing both my email and the phone book read on your fine podcast. Thank you. Clarification 1. I'm sorry I confused you with my parting comment. It was late at night, usual podcast time, when I wrote my first plea for help or email, and I managed to leave out the on you both after crushing madly. She just said crushing madly at the end, which I just and in case there are language difficulties, apparently what we speak here is only approximately English. She's emailing from America. What I meant was I love yinses. I spent my formative years in the Iron City. It's all lost on me. I hope that clears it up. Actually, you've added another layer of obfuscation. Clarification 2. Goodness knows what this is going to be. When I said I'd love to hear you read the phone book, I meant it literally. Is that what we are reduced to these days, when literal has come to mean the exact opposite? She shrieks into the wilderness. And also knew in my heart it would devolve almost immediately into a tangent. You're so right, Susan.
So right.
2 out of 2 on that count, really. No room for dissatisfaction there. I love, with a heart, I heart a tangent and brackets.
Love a bracket.
Brackets as well. Brackets.
Well, I'm glad that you're crushing on us madly and not just crushing things madly. I think that would be quite frightening.
I'm crushing you.
I'm going to hit the mug and the table.
I saw a comedy show once where these guys used to stand close to the camera and put their fingers around the people in the distance and go, I'm crushing you, I'm crushing you, I'm crushing you, and pretend that they could crush them because they seemed so small.
I have to remember that for a bad day.
What was the series? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Someone will know. Let us know. In closing, I am moved to say that episode 2 was a true masterpiece that may be discussed in hushed tones some centuries hence. I'm not above flattery. It baffled my husband, but he didn't make me turn it off.
Hey.
So there's that. As far as I know, Susan McKenzie. That's a brilliant way to sign your name, isn't it? As far as I know,
as far
Susan
as I
McKenzie.
know. Could be anything, as far as I know.
Right, so time now for our main topic of the moment, Children of the Stones. Sorry for the wait. And we'll intersperse it with some emails too. So for some structure, question 1, when did you first see Children of the Stones?
When did I first see it? Interesting one. I was actually at college at the time, just embarking on my great journey to the Children of the Stones-dom. I saw a video. It was actually my mum, I think she mentioned... hilariously, from all of her memories, it seems more to me that it was actually the Stones of Blood that she was referring to, hilariously. But she mentioned this TV series about stones, stones that moved and things like that. But it led me, I said, well, can you remember what it's called? She said, I think it was called Children of the Stones. So I found like the title sequence on YouTube of all places, and I thought, oh, this looks quite good. So I grabbed the DVD of it, and that's when I watched it and enjoyed it thoroughly. I remember at the time, my girlfriend at the time was just thought it was the most ridiculous thing she had ever seen, because she couldn't because people don't, if you don't get old telly, you just don't get it, do you? You don't get it. Just don't get it. People think things are silly when they're not. But anyway, so that was my first time watching it, and I loved it then, and I haven't watched it for a very long time, and so I set myself the task this week to go back into it and watch it, and absolutely loved it. So I guess that was my first thing. And Nick, how about you? What was your first?
Well, I think I mentioned, didn't I, in 1977 when it was first on.
You saw it in.
And your mum must be either my age or younger than me.
I think she's exactly your age, actually.
Is she really?
I think so.
How bizarre. Isn't that weird? I don't know why that's weird, but it does seem weird to me. Yeah. So I absolutely loved it. I was always looking at every year. I thought, this is what a nerd I was. I thought HTV will do another fantasy series. There'll be something. They always do something good. I was very into which company had provided it. And I particularly liked HTV because of the... I just had to do that again. So yeah, I was very much up for it. And the funny thing is, rewatching it, I remember at the time finding it quite slow, but actually it really whips along. It's really intelligently written.
I think the way I was thinking it like this as I watched it all in a day actually. I think it's the start is really like fast paced. A little bit in the middle, I think it dips a tiny bit, but then yes. All of a sudden it like picks up, and you're like, this is really going some. But it's absolutely captivating viewing, I think. Surprisingly advanced, I think, the language for considering it's a children's program. There's a lot of very adult language in it.
Oh yeah, we don't mean swearing. It's just that it's not written down to the kids, is it at all?
It's a straight piece. It's they're sitting there going, and that church is consecrated or whatever it is.
Yeah. Yes, it's been deconsecrated.
Deconsecrated, yes. And they're saying, these Neolithic stones seem to have a 1.2 on the Richter scale, and all these incredibly. That's not scientifically accurate.
It's not that you've got that scientifically wrong.
Not scientifically wrong, but it was an idea of the types of.
I do have a magnetometer.
The magnetometer. Yeah, it's all like that. But it's very well because it is believable.
Well, it's been researched. It's got a real whiff of Quatermass about it, hasn't it?
Oh, it really has, yes.
Whoever
absolutely.
wrote it, and we've been very naughty in all these podcasts, we don't give the full range. I mean, how could we do Catweasel and not mention Richard Carpenter? But there you go. Good old Richard Carpenter.
Good old Richard Carpenter, yeah, fantastic.
But yeah, we're kind of just talking about our gut reactions to things. But whoever wrote it had seen Quatermass, had obviously been influenced by it as a child, and just or as a young person, or I don't know. It's just, I think we should nip back into an email at this point.
Okay, just really before you do that though, I've just got it up here. So the series was created by Jeremy Burnham and Trevor Ray. Trevor Ray of Ambassadors of Death on that one.
What did he write? He didn't write Ambassadors of Death.
Ray penned the final version of the first episode of Doctor Who: The Ambassadors of Death, though he was not credited on the episode. He was the associate script editor on the programme from The Invasion to Spearhead in Space. And he assumed producer duties for the location filming of Doctor Who and the Silurians, whilst Barry Letts was committed to working on the other series. So there we have it. He also apparently appeared in Emmerdale Farm as well.
What, accidentally? He was just walking past a window or something?
I don't know.
Is that Trevor Ray? I don't know.
And you've got Jeremy Burnham there. Began as an actor, appeared in The Avengers, The Saint, Randall and Hopkirk, deceased. Then he retired from acting and took on script writing for Children of the Stones, Minder, and Peak Practice.
Wow!
You also
wrote successful writing.
You also wrote a children's tennis-based novel called Breakpoint. So there we have it.
Really?
It's a good breakdown of careers there. So
you seem very pleased with yourself.
I do. I sort of feel like I like learning new things. It's nice to learn those things. So yeah, Nick,
your face really lit up.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? But yes. Anyway, Nick. Thanks, Wikipedia. Okay, Nick. Well, do you want to rock into another email?
Yeah. Well, it's for you to read out.
Even better. Let's do this one. So it's now time for a quick email diversion, folks. Get out the old signs. That flash at night. This one's from Colin de Grace. Morning, chaps. Above is the Rutland Weekend Television Sprimpo sketch you referred to in this week's podcast. Love a bit of Rutland Weekend Television. The Ruttles.
Yeah.
How can you not love the Ruttles? Thoroughly enjoyed it as usual, by the way. And thanks for the mention in the podcast and posting the annual on your Facebook page. Did the old looking cover not arrive? Well, who knows. Regards, Colin de Grace. P.S. On your Facebook page, somebody suggested a word search for the annual, so I hastily cobbled one together and posted it as a reply. Is it? I've not got it on here, but and it is an actual word search. I didn't see
the look-in cover either.
But yeah, there's a word search on there, which is quite fun.
What does that do?
Well, it's a word search, isn't it?
Well, what's a word search?
You know, when all the words are scrambled into an anagram, and you have to find them. You know.
I've never seen one.
You know what a word search is. Of course you know what a word search is. Look, Nick. Look.
Show the old man on your
A
clever device.
You know what a word search is.
Just a scrambled up load of words.
Like that.
No, I've never seen that in my life.
Why? You've never... That's crazy. Oh, my days. Really? Good. So, you have the...
That's probably why I didn't react to it. I just thought, don't know what it is.
So you have the words listed on the side, so you can see there. So then you look for... So we've got the one at the bottom is vanilla.
Yeah.
And so what you have to do is in those scrambled up letters there, you have to find the word vanilla.
It's like school.
So it is exactly like school. So can I find vanilla? This is going to take up the whole podcast. It says somewhere.
No, you see, that's how interesting a word search is.
Where is it? I found chocolate.
Thanks anyway, Colin.
Chocolate. There we go. But yeah, words.
No, I didn't know what a word search was.
There we go.
I thought
you've
I'd
learned
search
something
for a
new.
word in a file, but
it's called a dictionary, and you search for it, and then you know what it is.
yes, that's yeah. Anyway, so Rutland Weekend Television, Sprimpo.
I do believe there's a T-shirt cropped up that somebody put together of that. Actually,
I think. Hold on. Let's see if we can play the clip. It's a terrible noise here from the building that's going on. You would have thought they'd finish these blooming. Scunthorpe Television presents. Scunthorpe Television presents.
You know, Mildred, love is a semantic confusion.
Oh, I agree.
Based on the accidental usage of the same word, viz. love, in two totally different and often quite contradictory meanings. It est I love you,
I love you too.
and to make love.
Do you think we ought?
So that if we used a different word, e.g. sprimpo for the activity, for example, to make sprimpo, we should avoid the romantic semantic confusion.
There we are. So, and the joke is that she wants to have Sprimpo, and that he thinks she's having a grammatical discussion with him.
it's very cleverly done. Good old Eric Idle.
There we go.
A champion.
Anyway, back to Children of the Stones, our chosen topic of the week, in case you'd forgotten. What's your favourite thing about Children of the Stones?
For me, the music and the setting. There's two things, but they go together. Firstly, I'm interested in kind of the witchy sort of history, dark sort of stuff, Celtic, I suppose, roots, and I just love it because there's such a mysticism around it all. It's taking something incredibly natural, just these stones which happen. I think it's Avebury, is it?
That's right, in Wiltshire.
A real location.
I mean, it's not meant to be set in Avebury. It's called Milbury. I think,
yeah, the Milbury Stones. But you're taking something incredibly natural and actually making it incredibly scary. The stones don't really... I mean, apart from when you kind of see weird, odd sort of reflections of people and stones together, the stones don't do anything. The stones don't move around and attack people. But it takes something incredibly natural and really makes it frightening. And to tie into that with the music, you've got this sort of incredibly frightening, unnerving frightening, and there's no apart from a few little bits of vibraphone here and there, the majority of it is just people's voices, and it's incredibly raw and bare bones, but it's really frightening and really makes you shiver.
Watching it again, I agree, by the way. Watching it again, there's a surprising amount of electric guitar, bass guitar, and at one point,
Bing,
and
wing.
and at one point, there's a sort of what sounds like a very sort of archaic trumpet. When I think it's when the boy is Adam, the boy is who's very good, by the way. I remember not liking his acting when I was a teenager. I thought, he's a bit embarrassing, but I thought he makes a really good fist of it. Him and Gareth Thomas. Of course.
They're both really believable, because when watching that, I thought, do you know what? I thought these two, like, they've got really good chemistry together, like on screen. and it's really nice. I think he does a great job, and I think he's.
It's when he's crashing the bike. Leading up to that, there's a lot of trumpet music. But anyway, yeah, sorry.
I think he's really good. And again, going to when we talked about Catweasel last time, another fantastic child actor there. So
That's what happened to him.
I think he did a couple of little things and then stopped. I know in this particular one that the
Can you Google him?
Which one?
The boy
from Peter Deming.
Children of the Stones.
I googled him last night, actually. Funny enough, I don't think he's done anything else really. He's done a couple of. He played Robin Hood in The Adventures of Young Robin Hood, a TV movie in '83.
Right.
Since they did The Birds Fall Down, where he played a character called Lewison, and The Voyage of Charles Darwin, where he played Musters. But apart from that, he's not really. He didn't do a lot since then.
When was The Voyage of Charles Darwin? I don't mean the actual voyage, I mean the production.
78.
Oh, right. So is he still alive?
From what I can gather, he is, yes.
They don't give a date of...
but there are some nice pictures of him now, all grown up, with the Stones, which is quite
really?
nice. Yeah, you've got him...
Do you think they have little gatherings and he...
I can imagine. I mean...
Because he must be my age now.
Because I assume so, yeah. But I suppose it
when
would
was
hold
he born?
It would hold an incredibly close part in your life to have grown up.
Well, you'd
there.
either embrace it or absolutely loathe it, wouldn't you?
You would, yes.
I know that my friend Gary Russell, who was in the famous Five, playing Dick, he was, for a while, he had a slightly ambivalent relationship with it, but now he fully embraces it and goes along to events and, book signings and things. And is terribly and rightly proud of it. It was a superb series, the famous Five. Great kids.
Absolutely. Legendary, really.
Great kids' TV programme, yeah.
But it doesn't say anything about Peter Deming. He very keeps himself to himself, I do believe.
Interestingly, in the credits, of course, Gareth Thomas and Peter Deming and the lady and the young girl, whose name I don't know, are all credited first, but then it says, and starring Ian Cuthbertson. And he was the big noise on television at the time. To get him to do a kids' TV programme was quite a thing, because he had really made his name in a phenomenally successful adult evening programme. Do you know it?
Was it Sutherland's Law?
Oh, well, you got me there. He absolutely made his name in that, but also in an ITV series called Budgie.
Oh, Budgie, yes.
And he was the guy who... He was sort of like the criminal overlord who was always pulling Adam Faith, the ex-pop singer and come actor, who was playing a sort of lovable rogue, and he was all right, Budgie, come here. He was this really severe Scotsman.
Who did that? What production company did that one? Let me have a look.
Oh, it would have been ATV or London Weekend Television. It was one
London
of the big
Weekend.
hitter. Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the big hitters on ITV, one of the major productions. Lovely theme tune, Budgie. Wow, wow, wow.
God, I've not seen Budgie in a long time. Is it out on DVD, I wonder?
Oh, probably, yeah. Come on.
Network.
Surely.
I bet Network must do it.
The starting sequence was Adam Faith running slow motion through a shower of pound notes.
Which we all like to do. Oh, it's on Amazon. £18.99. Yeah.
Is it Network?
Yes, it is.
Of course it is. Well done, Tim Beddoes of Network.
Adam Faith is terrifically cast, says Stuart McComey of Radio Times. There we go.
It was he'd become incredibly famous as a pop singer, Adam Faith, but it gave him a second rush of stardom when he played Budgie. Yeah.
God,
it's a lovable road.
See, this is what's great about this podcast, is that we suddenly dive down these little rabbit holes of series which I just forget to even exist.
Well, and Ian Cuthbertson gives a towering and terrifying performance.
He's so creepy, isn't he? So creepy.
What was the name of his character? I can't remember now.
His character was called, Hendrik, is it? Hendrik? Let me have a look.
That's right. Yeah, it was.
Yes, Hendrik. Ian Cuthbertson Hendrik.
And I can't go past mentioning the actors without mentioning Gareth Thomas, who I knew and worked with many times. And it's great to see him in that solid starring role. I mean, he was a real star turn, Gareth. he had such integrity as an actor, and he was one of those actors who, the moment he walked on in front of the camera, you just knew that you were safe with him, and that you were going to like and trust his character.
You believe him, don't you?
Yeah.
Undisputably, you believe everything he says.
And it was a man I very much admired in that he had an attitude to life, which was that he went by gut feeling and trust. And of course I say that because he was kind enough to bestow some of that onto me. When he first worked for Big Finish, which was in Paul McGann's first production, Storm Warning, he played Lord... I can't remember. Anyway, I watched it, and I've never been a big fan of Blake Seven, for example. And so I just, after I'd watched Gareth's performance, I went up to him and said, I really admire what you did today. I thought it was a fantastic performance. Really enjoyed it. And it's a great trick for actors to learn, that he did that thing. Many of us are not good at taking compliments. But he made me feel like $1 million for complimenting him.
Oh.
He stopped, he turned, he looked at me, and he behaved as though it meant the world to him. In a very quiet way, not in front of other people. He just said, "Thank you for that, Nick." In a kind of, you know what I mean? And I just...
Like, you've made my day, sort of way, yeah.
And I said, well, it was great, Gareth. I said, I would love to work with you on something else at Big Finish. And he said, well, that would be incredible for me.
Oh.
I said, oh, well... Thanks very much. And so when I was doing Dalek Empire, when I was writing it, I thought, well, I've got to get Gareth Thomas to do this, and I phoned him up out of the blue, and I said, well, this is a bit of a, I didn't know how to pitch it to you, Gareth. And he said, don't worry, Nick, I trust you, whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be brilliant. Just send it to me and tell me when the dates are and I'll turn up.
Oh, what a nice man.
Massively flattering. But he didn't want any nonsense, Gareth. He just wanted to get on with it.
Which is nice, which is refreshing.
But not in a kind of not paying attention way, like I don't care what it is, I'll just do it. Because once he'd read it, my goodness, did he have opinions. And he would say, you've written this about the character. And I say, yeah, that's right. He said, well, you say this, but I don't see it in the script. And I said, well, no. And he said, well, is it going to happen in a future episode? And I said, yes, it is now. So he really influenced the development of his character in Dalek Empire, because he took notice of where it seemed to be going, and he was dead right, and he encouraged me to make more of the character, and consequently he came back in a second series as well. So yeah, amazing man to work with, and I think it's fair to say, and not too tactless, to say a drinking man.
I've heard he's fantastic company
He was great company. He would do a thing where he would, if you offered to buy him a drink, he would give you some money, and you'd say, no, I'm buying the drink. And he'd say, no, but buy another one for me, because I will get through with two before you finish the one you're buying for yourself as well.
What a champion.
And had so many outrageous stories about what had happened to him when he was under the influence. One he liked to tell me was how he had managed to, and I'm sure anyone who'd ever met Gareth and chatted to him for a while will be rolling their eyes and going, oh, that story of how he had woken up in the middle of the night at a Blake 7 convention or something, and for some reason, I can't remember the details, went outside his bedroom to get something, and as he would say very bluntly, he said, and of course I sleep in the nude, and it's quite a large fellow. So the idea of this large, then sort of 60-something-year-old man in a hotel corridor, completely naked.
Oh, no.
And he said, well, of course, you know what happened. Ka-chunk. The door closes behind me. Well, I've not got a key, have I? I've got no choice. I have to go down to reception. He walks down to reception with his hands covering the requisite area. Excuse me, I've lost my key. Could you... He said, well, they sorted it out. He said, next year, went back to the same event, same hotel. Would you credit it? Same thing happened. He said, I walked down to reception. They said, oh, Mr. Thomas, you'll be requiring your key.
Oh, my God, that's amazing. Absolutely superb. I love Gareth Thomas, and I mean, as well as obviously the Blake Seven and Children of the Stones, one of his roles that I love him for is he plays ACO Bulstrode in London's Burning, which is a long running London weekend television. I suppose it's almost a soap, but it's a drama series. It's based around firefighters, but he plays this sort of amazing sort of chief in there, and he's very, shut the door, you're drinking, man? No? Well, you have a whiskey now, then sit down with me, and he'll sit there and he'll say, absolutely can't believe what you've done, and he really ran the riot out, but he was so believable. Everything he does, he was so believable, and in that one, you respected him, but he had that amazing ability, like in Children of the Stones, that you've got these characters like Bulstrode, who you would imagine in the bare bones of that character is he's the authority within the London fire service, but he's got this ability that you really like the character, despite the fact that he's telling off all of your favourite characters. You love this character because he's got another side to him. There's layers in there, and Bulstrode ends up becoming a real favourite. People, he has fun in it, and you like him, and when he leaves in it, it's really sad. I've had enough of these old dinosaurs. That's what they call me now. But he's very good. But in Children of the Stones, I like the fact that at the start he's doing his own thing, and then by the end, him and the young boy, is it Michael? I think the kid's name is in it.
Adam.
Is it no? Adam, is it? Adam?
Oh, he's Adam.
He's Adam.
No, Matt. The boy.
Matt.
That's
him
right,
him and Matt. They become like, it starts off him saying, "Oh, come on, don't be," and at the end they're like tight as anything, and they're like, we need to sort this out and get out of here.
It's a great drama about a father-son relationship, and that's the thing as well, to adjust one of Tom Baker's phrases. Tom says often about certain performers that they compel affection, and I think Gareth did, but he also compelled trust. There's something very trustworthy about Gareth's acting.
Absolutely.
And the fact that he becomes, his wife has died, and he says that Matt is a great consolation to him. And it's very English, it's very unemotional, it's very restrained, but that there are deep affections under the surface.
Absolutely.
And it's so well, it's quite Celtic actually, so maybe not English, maybe British, and obviously Harlech television.
As well, with Matt looks up to his dad, and he wants to be his father. You can see that he loves what his father does, and he's super intelligent, and they both share that same passion for what they do, which is really lovely in it, and they kind of work together.
My next question was, what's your strongest memory of it? Well, I don't know how that works for you as a question.
Strongest memory, I mean, the standout memory for me has to be at the start when they're in the car, and they see that stone sort of in the road, which is the woman, sort of that silhouette. And I remember, I think later on it's a lorry as well coming, but I remember finding that really, I thought, whoa, I did not
made me jump out of my seat.
I thought, I did not expect this so quickly. When you're into something so quickly, it was like, this is what we're doing, this is the situation. Because normally those 70s things, they're quite slow burny. They say they get to the village and it will be, and you've seen those stones, and then, but this, it's like, bam, this is it.
That's right. It's quite modern like that, isn't it? I mean, the writing is on the wall very early on about what this production is going to be like. And I think you're right. It does slow down a bit, because you get this drip thing where, it's very clear that a whole section of the community say happy day, they're all happy ones, and at the kids at school there's the clever bunch, and then the kids who haven't been affected by this, who are a little bit normal and not
messing
so
around,
smart, and not doing all the insanely complex algebra they keep putting. I wonder how those kids learnt all that stuff. They're writing these insane. I wonder whether any of those formulae make sense.
That's what I was thinking when I thought I'd love to. I might show it to my friend James, who's like the maths king.
I imagine they had a board just off that the kids were copying it off.
Possibly.
They did it so quickly and in such a detailed way.
Oh, there's a horrible bit where she says, "Take the chalk."
Yes.
And he's turned and he takes it, and it's horrible.
And it's a little farm boy who knew nothing about maths at all.
It's horrible.
As you put one and one together, you sometimes get three.
Yeah, that's what my dad says. And then suddenly he's there, happy day.
Yeah.
And he's up there just, well, we better find a seat for you on the top table then with the others, won't we? And it's sickly. It makes you feel sick. You think, this is horrible. He's gone. What's happening?
Well, it sort of taps into this thing they used to do on Star Trek quite a lot, the original Star Trek, which is that the ultimate evil is to remove everyone's anxiousness.
Yes, absolutely.
and to make people happy, unnaturally happy.
Happy day.
We're English. We want to hold on to our unhappiness. We want to be stupid and get cross. I mean, there's a bit where one of the boys says, "God, I know what will make me feel better." And he says, "What? You want to hit me?" And he goes, "Yeah." And he punches this boy right in the face.
Great punch. One of the best punches on telly, I think, actually.
And he falls over, and the boy gets up and just rubs his chin and says, "Do you feel better?" And you can see that he doesn't. And you think this is an interesting thing. And all Hendrik wants to do is extract the evil from people. Extract all the things that hold them back. Because that is what holds us back. All our negativity, the things that make us not concentrate on productive things. But somehow we're wedded to the idea that we want all those little rough patches that mess up our life.
It's funny. Well, I suppose it's what makes us human, isn't it?
I do. Well, anyway, we'll come on to that in a minute. I think it's time for another email, isn't it?
I believe so. So this one here is from Simon or Roland Browning. Bit of a confusion there. But anyway, he writes, "Dear Benji and Nick, I loved the Doctor Who movies. I'm ashamed to admit that I saw these before the Hartnell versions. Nothing wrong with that, so did I. I saw these as a repeat on TV as a young boy and was instantly hooked. The look, the feel, and the music are just were amazing, and definitely not the Doctor Who that I'd seen at the time. Prefer 2150 AD of the two, just because Daleks get run over by a van and explode. Sorry, Nick."
I don't take it personally.
Yes, he does take it. He takes every Dalek casualty. Just sits inside all that anger there, which Hendrik is trying to extract. Anyway, P.S. The song that Benji couldn't remember exactly was "The Wizard" by Paul Hardcastle. Yes, of course it was. It was used as a theme for Top of the Pops for a while. Yes, it was. Yes.
Or Pop of the Pops, as Simon accidentally wrote.
Pop of the Pops, the popular popping sounds you hear on the telly. Pop, 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 pop.
So, Geoffrey Belden was in that song, was he? They just cut him out when they used their version of the for the
theme of
Wouldn't it have been brilliant if Geoffrey Belden had always been in the theme tune for Top of the Pops?
It would have been that happy.
So, now on BBC One, Top of the Pops.
Oh, nothing works. Mayhap, mayhap, mayhap. Oh, bird of nights, play rock.
Genius. Don't let anyone tell you you're not a genius, Benji.
Yes,
Because
yes.
they
Oh,
would
thank
be
you.
lying.
Oh, you're too kind, sir.
You're too kind, sir.
Back to Children of the Stones. What about? We've talked about the cast. We've done the cast, haven't we?
Yes, we've done.
And we've sort of touched on the story.
I think so. I think enough that people can watch it and not be spoilt by it, I think, is the key.
I mean, it is funny. What are we meant to talk about the ending as well? We don't.
I wouldn't talk about the ending, but
it's weird.
Suffice to say, it's weird, really spooky. Yeah.
And because it seems to come to an end, because of course it's an ITV series, so there's a commercial break, and the DVD release gives you, I think, the commercial breaks. Oh,
I love it. Love it.
It would be awful if it was that. I love that noise when people are being turned into stones in the last episode.
Yes. Oh, it's like a weird
sort of electric.
I can't even remember.
That's
it's
it.
like some sort of like a real processing sort of noise, isn't it? Oh, I love it.
Very good. It appears to come to an end at the commercial break during the last episode.
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
That appears to, and you think, well, that's the end of the series. If it was an episode of an ITC program, that's where they'd end it, just there, because that's what they do with those shows, isn't it? Yeah, I caught a criminal. That was there's the closing theme.
How's it?
Blimey, no wrapping up. No, fine.
It's wrapped up really nicely.
Yeah.
It's done in a very.
I understand.
No, it's one of those things we can't really talk about it because.
Well, could you do a spoiler alert?
Yeah.
I've been turned into a stone.
Yes, we are most
Tight
crazy.
trousers you're wearing there.
Yes, the Ethel quite. That's Tom Saunders, a quote I use a lot. The Ethel quite.
Ethel quite. Yes. I use that as well, and people look at me like, "Why did you just say that with a lisp?"
Yeah, Ethel quite. Yes,
Quite.
yeah, Ethel quite. But the that ending is it's a particularly weird one because
When he turns up,
he turns
Ian
up and
Gufferson turns up.
you think, does this? Because I kept thinking, 'cause it's obviously, look, it keeps happening over and over again. Apparently, they say, has this happened before? Is it going to happen? Does this keep happening? And then you think, well, do they keep going back there? Are they trapped with going there, solving it, and going away?
It sort of becomes another thing. Why it all becomes about a circle of time, I've no idea. There's no mention of that.
Like
It's like
two
they had
circles.
that idea. Yeah.
It doesn't
It's
make.
like the writers had that idea in the pub when they couldn't think of an ending, and so they just sank too many pints. They go, "I've got this great idea, right? It's time. It's time. Time, gentlemen, please. Oh yeah,
time.
right. We'll say it's time."
But it kind of works. It's really. It sets it up for you could get another. I reckon you could get another series out of exploring that idea. Not that I'd want one, but
Well, that's hold that thought. Here's another email from Matias Flores. He writes to us from Brazil. His email is beautifully entitled Shalme, Dalme, Adonai.
Superb,
Hello,
sir.
Nick and Benji, or should I say Benji and Nick? I think you should for this podcast. I don't know if you remember me. I do. But my name is Matias Flores. And last year I sent an email to the Big Finish podcast about being a Big Finish fan here in Brazil. When I listened to the podcast where you first mentioned the Benji and Nick show, I just loved the idea. After listening to the first episode about Death to the Daleks, insert Nick's Dalek voice here, Death to the Daleks, there we are, I thought to send you guys an email, but completely forgot about it. Oh,
you fool,
but
you
with the
old
second
fool.
you Brazilian fool. But with the second episode release about Catweasel, I finally went and watched the whole of season 1, and I adored the show.
Oh,
Catweasel,
great.
that's it. Though I couldn't understand much of the words. You see, you are brilliant, Matthias, because there weren't any subtitles in Portuguese anywhere. Even though I know English and listen to Big Finish and all its productions, it still can't do the same with TV series or movies. Still, I really enjoyed it. I've been watching at least one episode a day so far, and now I'm here writing about it. Also, I really like Nick's mentions of The Orville, a show that feels more like Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery. I do hope you will do a podcast about it. And Peter Cushing movies too. Yes, I really like those. In any case, this email is really just a letter of appreciation for the wonderful job you do of entertaining everyone who listens to both of your podcasts. Excellent work, gentlemen. And now all that is left for me to say is buck up and thanks for all the fish.
Love it, love it, love it. How awesome is that, though? That it's inspired somebody to go and watch Catweasel.
I know.
Like, that's really
We're
nice.
just making people waste their lives.
It's brilliant. Well, I'd rather waste other people's lives than my own. No,
It's not my problem.
Not my
You wanna
problem,
Waste your
yeah.
life. Yeah.
in your life. But no, it's cool, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. And yeah, I mean, a lot of the language in it is quite sort of its time anyway. So, but if you can't watch it in English, it was Catweasel was massive in Germany apparently. So there's probably a German version knocking around.
Well, I don't think he speaks German.
No,
Just
but
'cause he doesn't live in England doesn't mean it.
No,
You
just-
must speak German. You don't live in England.
I just thought it was an interesting fact to throw in there.
No, it is. Yes, I'll just write it down. Anyway, there's another email.
There's another email here. Yes, it says, just time for this relevant quickie from Lance Harrington. Subject line, Stones. He's clearly going to talk about the Rolling Stones, isn't he? My favourite is I was about to say Mick Fleetwood, Mick Jagger. Hi chaps, very much enjoying the podcast. I just wondered if you'd like to talk about a show that scared the life out of me as a child, but is just brilliant and always gets me a blank look if I mention it. The show is Children of the Stones. I'd love you to talk about it in your podcast so others can track it down on DVD and discover it. Keep up the good work, Lance Harrington. Quite right, Lance. And absolutely, I mean, I'm glad. It seems to me that this is the right choice for this week's podcast. And so let's continue. Let's crack-a-lack back on with Children of the Stones.
Well, I wrote down the music here, but we've done that. How about the sequel?
Well,
there was a sequel.
There was a sequel.
Not a TV series, a book.
Was there a book? No way. Really?
I think it was called Return to the Stones. Have a Google.
Really? What a great idea. No, we don't want The Witcher 3. The book. No, I don't want that game. Return to the Stones. Yes, oh my good lord. The long-awaited sequel. So was this done recently then, or is this...
It's half an hour ago, yeah.
Oh, that's easy. Oh, that's nice. How convenient. I'm glad they fitted that one in. Just in time.
What does it say?
It says here, the long-awaited sequel to Children of the Stones. 30 years later, Matthew Brake, now an astrophysicist, and he's an anthropologist, father and recently divorced, brings his young American son Tom back to Milbury, where his father Adam now lives, and a new enemy awaits. Well, that's a good idea. I do like it. I like that a lot.
There was a possibility of Big Finish doing it at one point.
That would have been brilliant.
But then Gareth died, which was very, very sad.
And so
we sort of lost the impetus to do it, really.
Well, understandably
I know
so.
Gareth would have loved to have done it. But I think someone else owned the rights, and it's always very difficult getting into a co-production as opposed to a licensing agreement.
Yeah, no, I can see
Especially
that.
when the returns are very low on specialist items like this.
I mean, with something like Return to the Stones, I could see Children of the Stones being its own thing on modern television as a sort of reboot with nods back to the original. I could see it being just as creepy today, if not even more so in a way that modern TV could achieve. Interesting. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
I think it could work nicely. I mean,
I wouldn't mind watching it.
yeah, maybe we could be in it, Nick. We could be the Stones.
Yeah.
Oh.
I could be Freddie Jones. Oh no, but Freddie Jones could be Freddie Jones. We forgot to mention Freddie Jones.
Oh,
Most amazing. One of my favourite actors.
He's
Absolutely
fantastic
brilliant.
in it.
The mad old man.
Although hilariously, why are they possessed to call him Die? I don't know, because you just sort of see Matt constantly saying Die, Die, Die. You're like, all right.
It is weird, isn't it? I don't know. They must have done that on purpose.
It was very unsettling though. But no, he's very good in that. Sanctuary. If you need sanctuary. Well, it's Welsh. Oh, you need. I'm a miner. I am.
That's right. He used to dig holes in the sea for fish.
Yes, he did. I was like, where are the rabbits? Where have they gone? No rabbits to me. I can't do the Welsh accent at all. So I just never.
Right, he ends up being a different character at the end, doesn't he?
Yeah, and just completely.
Spoilers.
It completely blows your mind, doesn't it? It's a very weird one, but yeah, it's full of mysteries, which I suppose is what's so captivating about the show, really.
Yeah.
It's an
We love it.
interesting one. We
Lovely to
absolutely do.
revisit it. It was lovely to watch it again.
Oh, absolutely. I recommend it to anybody. Children of the Stones. Fantastic.
Available from DVD from Network Video, of course.
Of course it is. Of course.
Isn't it time Network Video sponsored this podcast?
We should sort this out, Nick. Sort this out. Give them a lot of promotion. But talking of great sponsors, we've got the Jerry Anderson store sponsoring this one, so it's now time to... We'll get on to a couple of emails before getting on to the Jerry Anderson competition.
Get on. And remember, you can email us with your suggestions for podcast topics or just comments or bizarre facts and opinions. The more bizarre, the better. To podcast@nicholasbriggs.com.
Good solid email. I don't know why I keep saying that.
I know, I've no idea.
Solid email. That was a good email. Yeah, straight to the point. So, Big Al, he's a regular on our Big Finish podcast. Big Al writes to us, subject line's the Dalek movies. Hey, great call. So he says, love the Dalek movie. I'm not going to do it in that voice. Love the Dalek movies.
Please don't.
I remember watching the old VHS tape with both films on it. Dalek double feature. And myself and a friend then went around exterminating each other with spray air fresheners and gassed the entire house out. I can imagine it was very unpleasant, but again, it's probably the type of thing I would have done. P.S. I've loved. I'd have loved a Peter Cushing Doctor Who and the Keys of Marinus movie. Yeah, that'd be fun. Apparently, it very nearly happened. Very interesting. I was aware of the Mission of Doom, but not so much a Keys of Marinus one. But that's a great idea, isn't it?
Well, Mission of Doom, I think that was just a fake one.
Was it a fake one? I thought they were going to make a third film.
Yeah, that was just an amateur model footage put together, Mission of Doom.
I suppose it was,
They were allegedly going to do a third one based on The Chase, which was the third Dalek script.
But it was nothing came to be.
I love the fact that something you missed out, not that it's really vital, but I love the fact that when he says about the air fresheners and gas the entire house out. Great days.
Great days.
I just gassed the house out. Great days.
Real loving memory there.
This one is from Anirin, and the subject line is suggestion. Dear Nick and Benji, I think it would be a good idea to have emails before the discussion of whatever you have chosen that week. A reason for that? That the material will be related to the previous week's discussion. It just seems like a better order. In future, there could be people binge listening. And it means you don't need to worry about getting to them like last week, Dalek Movies app. I also have a question. I'm taking note of this, Anirin. I read on the internet, whatever that is, the internet, sorry, it's my mouth that's not working, how there were plans for a third movie based on The Chase. It wasn't made due to Dalek Invasion of Earth not doing well enough. If it was made, what would you imagine it to be like? Also, how do you think the Daleks master plan would have been done? 2 parts? Just imagine doing that in the 60s. A 2-part movie. Would you have wanted Dalek movies on these later serials and even later ones? And obviously, I want a Dalek movie on Death to the Daleks.
That'd be fantastic. The dream.
I mean, I imagine they would have looked at The Chase and it wouldn't, The Chase was very much a sequel, wasn't it? It was sort of, what should we do next? And it was very much about the Doctor being the enemy of the Daleks and all that. And I don't see how that would have worked for a film.
I think The Chase would have looked good. I think as a movie, to have the mechanoids or the Mekons or whatever you want to call them against the Daleks in colour probably would have been quite good. But yeah, I agree with you there, Nick.
The strong thing about the first 2 Dalek scripts, is that they are fundamental themes of storytelling. There's the visit to the other planet where 2 races are in conflict, one good, one evil, and there's a terrible history behind them and all that kind of stuff. And then the invasion of Earth, a very strong theme. Whereas The Chase, it's just Doctor Who being chased by the Daleks. It's kind of very episodic. I can't see that would have been... I mean, it's always been surprising to me that Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD was not as big a hit as Doctor Who and the Daleks, because it's clearly a better film.
Definitely. I suppose it's just time. I suppose it's just time, isn't it?
The bubble had burst.
I think so. I mean, in some way, if I could have chosen something to be done, I think what would have been good is to let it rest for a while, and then it come back with the Power of the Daleks style one, with Peter Cushing still. But have that, because you'd have that great reveal of what's inside the big vaulty sort of thing, the capsule, and then you can imagine Daleks, as basically exactly the same as 2150 AD. But I can imagine that would have been quite a good moment. Like maybe he's an Earth scientist, he's a professor, and Earth have found, we found a capsule underneath London or something, as they always change them up a little bit. And he's there to do a talk, and unveil it as a matter of scientific significance. And then it opens, goes, Daleks! It's a real big thing.
That's quite a different story, though.
That is a different story, but they do mix it up, though, don't they?
I think that's the thing that, I feel very, arrogantly that I have a sort of gut feeling of what is a movie and what isn't a movie type story. And I think Evil of the Daleks is much more of a movie type story. Power of the Daleks.
Oh, absolutely! You could absolutely make an Evil of the Daleks movie out of that, especially with the Emperor stuff going on. That would have looked. Imagine a movie style Emperor.
Hey,
sack the bumpers, just loads of lights, loads of them, hundreds of them. Lots.
Doctor! Anyway, competition result time. As you may remember, we asked you what can happen in the next half hour according to which famous Jerry Anderson series. The answer was...
Anything can happen in the next half hour. That's right. That's the opening sequence of Stingray.
Have you heard the record release where there's a verse?
No.
It dives under the sea into the world below, where beauty and mystery can always be found.
Oh.
It dives fearless and free, facing the strangest foe, but against all adversity, sails homeward bound. Stingray. So there you go.
Oh, that
I
is.
don't know what possessed me to sing that.
I like it
badly.
though. You've got a nice voice there, Nick.
I lost confidence. The prizes on offer were a Thunderbird 1, Thunderbird 2 or Stingray hoodie. The winner was free to choose.
And the winner is... Insert details, it says here.
Brittany Schlosky.
Oh, rock and
Yeah.
roll, Brittany. Nice
Not
one.
her twin, Jessica. Sorry, Jessica. Which one of them is the evil twin? I know we had a conversation with them about which one was the evil one.
I can't remember who was the evil twin now, but I remember we had, yeah. What was it? I thoroughly believe that there is an evil twin, and then you just designate, and it's probably you.
Yes, but twins always say that. I know some twins who are magicians, and one of them purports to be the evil one. Anyway, so Brittany, congratulations. You, by the time you hear this, will already have been contacted by the Jerry Anderson store, who are asking you what size you want. They were very worried about contacting you. They said, does she know yet? And I said, no, but you can tell her. So they were quite pleased about that.
That's fun.
Our new competition is to win a Space 1999 Blu-ray remastered, fully restored box set of Series 1.
Right, I'm going to enter that one, so nobody's going to find it now. The question is, who did Roy Dotrice play in Space 1999?
Send your entries to podcast@nicholasbriggs.com with the subject line, Breakaway! Good luck!
Oh, I love a competition. There we go. Exciting. I like the grand unveiling. It's always rather, who's it going to be? And their face is all lighting up. Oh, it's lovely. But yes, you can remember this one because you can actually get free shipping from the Jerry Anderson store. So even if you didn't win the competition, you're still a winner. You're still a winner if you
I
made
love
it.
the way you put that.
Yeah, well, winners love a bit of the Benji and Nick show, and you can find the Jerry Anderson store at jerryanderson.co.uk, and you can use the code destroy. That's 3 destroys, capital letters, no spaces. Destroy.
Yeah, get your free shipping. Now, time to decide on next week's discussion topic in the Benji and Nick show. What do you think, Benji?
Oh, I don't think
I've literally no idea.
the logical one to do is the changes. I think is a very logical one to go
Should we
on
do
to.
it?
We could do the changes.
Let's do the changes. Let's ring the changes.
Let's ring the changes.
It's the story of how everyone in Britain suddenly rejects technology.
They
Pretty
do
much it,
indeed,
isn't it?
in a
They will
strange
start
sort of
bashing it.
trance with horrible sort of
Paddy
noise.
Kingsland did the music. He did Doctor Who music too.
He did. It's a fantastic series, and hey, maybe if you're listening to this now and want to get ahead of the game, check out the changes, and then you can join us for our next podcast where we talk about it. How exciting!
Who released it? That's not Network, is it?
That isn't Network. I think it's the BBC actually, but
Is it though?
let me have a look. Yes, it was. It was the BBC.
Ooh.
BBC
So
One, 6th of January, the 10th of March.
Yeah,
75.
I know, but who's released it though?
Oh, it's been released, I think, by the BFI.
Oh, so yeah, I was going to say I didn't think the BBC had released it.
No, the BBC. Sorry, I thought you meant who made the show originally.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it's made.
I was alive when it was on.
I was alive. I'm alive.
I was alive.
Yes, it's made by the BFI. You can get it on a BFI DVD, and you can also get it on iTunes because I've got it on iTunes.
Oh right. Well, I might download it. I might buy it again. That's how crazy I am.
Crazy man, but it's well worth it.
They're missing a trick with Children of the Stones. All that network stuff should be on iTunes, shouldn't it?
Absolutely.
It's not,
I've said I'd happily I'd happily get rid of my Netflix to get a network on demand. I'd happily do it.
Yeah.
Because I think to myself, there's only so many things I can watch on Netflix, but I could just rewatch everything on the network store forever until I no longer have eyes. That's how I would rewatch it. But yeah, so
try Redcap for me.
Yes, I will. I will actually. It's a good idea.
I got that. It's two 4-disc box sets at least. I got 2 4-disc box sets from my local DVD store out here. Well, local DVD stall.
Great, you found it in a stall. That's funky.
Stall because I have a market 2 days a week.
Oh man, yeah. John Thor, what a dude.
It's really hard hitting. It's really grown up. Studio. It's so sparse, and incredible writing. Very, very dated. So much appalling sexism and racism from the time, but still fascinating lesson in dramatic TV writing. Fascinating and inspiring, although slightly offensive as well.
But that's retro TV, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a nutshell, really, you kind of have to take the rough with the smooth. But
beautifully done.
So,
and it, you could see why they Redcap. Yeah, they remade it in the 2000s with a female lead.
Clever idea.
Yes.
Well,
I remember it being a much slower paced thing, the remake, and the thing about the original is it was so fast and sparse. There was no loose fat on the joint. You know what I mean? It was cut to the bone,
which is what you want.
It's amazing amounts of story and just towering performances. Because that's all it is. There are no clever shots. There's no great scenery. It's black and white.
Nothing wrong with that.
People speaking and interacting. It's a masterclass. Troy Kennedy Martin, I believe, was the script editor. Just amazing work. Anyway, I'll stop eulogising.
Well, I shall watch Redcap and get back to you on that one.
Thank you.
So there we have it then.
Yeah.
Without further ado, I think it's time to go. But, Cor, haven't we? We've well and truly shot the breeze on some great cult television here. We've got...
Aye, boy, aye.
So that was Children of the Stones. Next week is The Changes. Remember, competition Space 1999 is now active. So get your emails in. And happy day.
Happy day. Oh. Pressing stop.